How time flies. Thanks to the unwavering support it has received from its loyal customers over the years, Zimele Asset Management Company has turned 25. Yes, a quarter century of actualizing dreams of thousands of investors. Majority of them previously excluded individuals who entrusted their hard-earned shillings with the trailblazing retail investment management service provider whose founders saw an opportunity where others in the market back in the day only saw risk.
For a young company like ourselves, we saw a gap in managing the investments of individual investors and small investors, investment groups, other cooperative societies, if they come along, and so on and so forth. So really all we do is try to get the best possible investment returns for the people who have entrusted their funds to our management. The word Zimele means stand on your own feet, I think in Zulu. And I read a book, actually I have a book, of the writings of Steve Biko. It's called I Write What I Like. And in the foreword, they explained about how in 1975, Steve Biko started the Zimele Trust Fund to help ex-political prisoners to set themselves back in society. Now, as in, well before I'd actually decided that this is, because I actually bought the book in 1989, just after leaving university. So at that point it was still very unclear as to where I was going to go. But I always thought that that would be a very appropriate name for business.
And Tony, of course, had this vision that he wanted, before the name bottom of the pyramid was invented, that he wanted to bring mutual funds, investment to the ordinary people. And at that point, historically and even now, investment in the stock market, in this kind of investments, is a very elitist and a very elite-focused business. In fact, most of the companies that were in that business at the time had a minimum investment of something like $500,000 shillings. That's out, because it's considered a market for sophisticated investors. So Tony had this idea that this should become more accessible to people.
However, just like for many startups venturing into what could be described as the unknown way back in 1998, when there was hardly any regulations or policies to guide its operations, amid an economy that was not performing so well, the formative years were not all smooth sailing for Zimele Asset Management Company.
When we set out to do this, even the legal framework did not exist for the mutual funds as we know it, where now you have so many companies, fund management companies. So one of the things that we have contributed to is to establish the policy framework and the legal framework for doing this, because it took now the industry players like ourselves to lobby the government and to help also the government to come up with a regulatory framework. So in a way, as Zimele, we are part of an industry we have helped to emerge and develop in the country. We have also contributed, for example, a lot to the new NSSF kind of framework and those reforms. So we have contributed a lot in terms of the policy reforms that have seen this investment and retirement benefits, pensions industry actually develop. The reason why the other businesses focus on high net worth investors is because the margins in this business are very thin. Yeah. Also, you need a lot of money, managing a lot of money, and you're being paid 0.5% of whatever. And as an independent, so you don't have captive money, and you want to do retail, that means that you need distribution. And distribution was very costly, because if you set up branches, the costs become very high. Your personnel costs, your every cost become high. Then came something called M-Pesa. And M-Pesa was the breakthrough for us. With the coming of digital, we were then able to go full blast because then the distribution costs went down. And then also, then came social media. And then before that, if you wanted to market, you would have to buy advertising and it's hugely expensive.
Conditions are never perfect. So if one were to say, let me wait until everything is in place for me to start my business, or for me to go out and start doing my thing, perhaps you'll never get to do it. So the key thing here is just having a vision, believing that that vision connects with the customers, and believing that when you put everything together, then the business will take off and you will get to achieve what you set out to do. And that's precisely the story of Zimele. The belief at that time was that the time for implementing that idea had come, and that idea in itself was actually empowering the common person to gain access or to invest and save through the capital markets. Something that was not happening at that point in time.
There's no doubt life was hard for us innovating some of these things, because they had not previously existed. But as we know, life is hard, but it's harder giving up. If you give up, it even gets worse. So you really have no choice. So I think over the years, we recognized that marketing challenges could be dealt by a combination of understanding certain things. First, understanding the customer needs, understanding the influence of organization, how organized you are in your execution, in your development of a product, and then what technologies you use to get your product out to the market.
The years that would follow were marked by turbulence, both in the financial services market and the political environment. But Zimele remained true to its calling and weathered the storm. At the center of it all were the customers who entrusted their money with Zimele with the expectation that, in the fullness of time, they would make a decent return on investment and achieve their financial goals. The company, through its team of highly trained and professional staff, always conducted extensive research to gain better insights into evolving customer needs and emerging market opportunities, after which new solutions were developed to not only meet but exceed customer expectations.
The story has actually been one of adapting ourselves to the needs of the customer, because I believe the customer is always the focal point of any business. And in the beginning years, after the turbulence of the late 90s, the stock market recovered around 2003. So stock market started recovering on the basis of interest rates falling to unprecedented levels. So as interest rates were falling, people are looking for alternatives of where to place their money. And as interest rates started falling, activity moved from interest rates or T-bills and treasury bonds to the stock market, because companies now started doing well. People had money in the pocket, and companies were borrowing at lower rates, so profits started going up, and of course companies' fortunes went up, and with that the stock market became the place of attraction. And we had to also mold ourselves, or rather adapt ourselves to that reality. So we provided individuals with the opportunity to invest in the stock market through a collective process. So in other words, instead of going directly and telling a broker, pick for me this company shares, that company shares, and then monitoring them, doing research and follow-up and so forth, we're doing that on their behalf. So trust your money with us, leave it with us. We open an account for you, but we invest this money, we put together collectively, invest it collectively in companies that we've taken time to research and analyze. And then based on the performance, we will give you a return commensurate with how much money you've given us and how long you've been with us. From 2007, if you recall, that was also a very turbulent year for the country. There was a post-election violence, but also there was the beginning of what later came to be called the global financial crisis. So the tremors had already started being felt. And one of the consequences of that is that share prices globally, not just in Kenya, globally crashed. They really went down to unprecedented levels from 2007 all the way to 2009. And what that then happened, what that meant was the gains that people have made, most of those evaporated. And through that, a lot of our members exited because they felt that the stock market was no longer giving them the kind of returns that it was giving in the years prior. And because of that, we had to kind of like, again, adapt. And the adaptation here came in terms of understanding, wait, we cannot control what goes on at the stock market. Yeah. However, we understand that customers are looking for a decent return. They're looking for preservation of their capital. So is there a way that we can use that to give the customer a value proposition that would enable them to stay with us longer and perhaps also avoid the volatility of the market, specifically the ups and downs of shares. And that's why we embarked on what we are currently referring to as a savings plan, the Zimele savings plan. So rather than go through the roller coaster activities of the stock exchange, here we were selling a proposition where we're telling a customer we can help you actualize your goals by you saving on a constant basis and putting that money in safe areas, safe investments where you'd be earning interest. And then on the basis of that, cumulatively, the interest that you earn on a compounded basis would give you good returns, which would enable you to meet your goals. And true to it, that was taken quite well. And it was also supported by the environment at that time because, again, interest rates were quite stable and the returns that were being offered were quite attractive. So I would say the savings plan enabled us to shift now from, initially we were perceived as a stock market outfit. So we are basically making money for our members using the stock market. We shifted from that and we moved to the savings plan. Now our proposition was we are going to give you an opportunity to attain your goals or actualize your goals, no matter how modest your savings are, but in a very stable and consistent manner. Along the way, we also decided to move into the area of pensions in a similar setting. So pensions were more or less considered to be, operated from an institutional setting. But in the same philosophy of focusing on the individual, we have been able to bring forward another proposition on the side of pensions where at very, very modest entry levels, an individual is able to start the road to planning and saving for their retirement. So that has also taken on very well, starting from around 2007, because that's when you got the licenses for the pension, the personal pension plans. And to date, that has gone very well. And what is even more encouraging today is that an increasing number of the youth or the younger population are actually enrolling into those pension plans.
Investors in our market segment, we have always identified that two of the key parameters for them are convenience and safety. And why is this important? Because these are simply, essentially the same products that people get from higher levels. So our products have fundamentally been based on two foundations: the basic needs of the customer and the customer whom we believe is left out by most of the financial services or is not included in financial services. Customer experience is very key. So ensuring that you have quality customer service or exceptional customer experience for us has been built over time through various lessons. What we seem to have identified clearly is that when you have a strong expectation of customer experience or great customer service or exemplary customer service, perhaps it makes more sense to provide your staff with a bigger picture of what exceptional customer service is and how it impacts the organization when it's absent, and then recognize the gaps in training that are there and offer that training so that you build the capacity in your organization so that that customer service in itself or the customer experience elements become part of your culture.
There are many times that you're struggling and you say, maybe we should just sort of go the traditional way. Go look for large pension funds and just become another fund management company. a moderately successful fund management company, but not particularly sort of having very mission-driven company. But we decided we are going to stick it out, and we stuck it out, and it took a very long time. As I say, so one of the lessons we have learned is the importance of staying power. Obviously, it cuts both ways. You could stick it out and not succeed. I think the other lesson is looking, and what has kept looking at a business in terms of who it serves, not just in terms of how it makes money, but if you say, look, we want this business to add value to the lives of particular people who are excluded. Yeah? So you don't abandon that. You try and solve the problem. How do we make it viable? How do we make it possible? Now this industry we are in, it then acquired a name called financial inclusion. But we were there long before them. We were there long before people started talking about financial inclusion, because we saw so many excluded people from certain financial services. So you can see ourselves as pioneers of financial inclusion. We're getting there. We are still not there. We are still small. We've been what you call in Kenya successful mid-sized company for many years. We keep getting that recognition. There used to be an award going around, sort of mid-sized companies. So we've been there, but you obviously don't want to be a mid-sized company forever. It took us 20 years to get to 1 billion shillings of assets under management. That time you're just surviving. But our customer base was growing because our customers is very small. So we had more customers than any other business, but we had a fraction of the money, because that is for them is the funds from one customer, one pension fund, even less. So by the time we were building systems, because you have to build systems to serve many people. It took us 4 years for the next billion. Okay, the next billion took a year. No, 2 years. The next one, 1 year. So we're getting to that stage where you are on a sort of exponential growth path. We're getting to that point where I think there is 1 year we doubled our customer base. So it takes a while, but I think now we are seeing, we are at that point where you see the takeoff kind of trajectory. Hopefully it stays. The economy is quite tough and a lot of turbulence. But we stabilized. We took a long time to be consistently profitable. You are sort of profitable one year, and then you lose even the next. Then you go down the third year, and then you fall below the capital adequacy requirements of CMA. Then you have to raise more capital from shareholders. That is what I did for the first couple of years as chair. But we've gotten to the point where we are now consistently profitable. Sometimes I get quite surprised. I think 4 or 5 years now with consistent and increasing profitability. So I would like to say that we did achieve our goal of having a business model that works for the business we wanted to have. And now we have gotten to the point where that model is also profitable.
Licensed by the Capital Markets Authority and Retirement Benefits Authority as a fund manager and investment advisor, Zimele now provides world-class services to over 50,000 clients, among them Mwai Wakihu. The 71-year-old father of 2 grown-up sons, now comfortably retired at his farm in Ongata Rongai, was one of the very first to save his money and watch it grow through the Zimele pooled investment scheme.
My involvement with Zimele was before Zimele was formed. I've seen benefits among the clients that I moved there. I was the chairman of what we called Gaimoronya Water Supply Association. You know, whenever I collected money from about 90 members of that Water Supply Association, before utilizing it for whatever purpose we are collecting it for, I would put it in money markets, top one being Zimele Balanced Portfolio. The 2 years before that, we were raising money to drill another borehole, because the borehole we were managing, we had 2 boreholes, and we needed a third one. We were raising money to do the third borehole. Then Water Resource Management Authority, WALMA then, which had given me the license to do another borehole, came and said they will not renew the license because we are going to be supplied by the water company from Kiserian Dam. The money that I had collected for that borehole, which belonged to the members, which I could not hand over, I handed over to the water company the money that had been surplus in the organization, but the money that the members had contributed so that we do another borehole, which we did not do, I had invested it in Zimele, and my members were so happy when I told them that in the 2 years, their money had earned a 60% return. So anybody who had contributed 100,000 shillings, because we were trying to raise 3 million, would get 160,000 shillings back. In the years where the stock market has done poorly, Zimele has held its position of beating the indices that we have in our capital markets every year. Every year, Zimele has done better than the market. Zimele has been managed by very, very trustworthy people. Zimele has helped me to feel fulfilled. Some of the savings I made and put in places like Zimele is what I used to buy this land.
On the other hand, 24-year-old Gertrude Njeri Ngugi represents Zimele's rapidly increasing number of second-generation investors keen not to be excluded from reaping benefits arising from investing through the capital markets, while at the same time planning early for retirement. She has been with Zimele since 2022, when she opened both a unit trust and a pension account.
The moment I saw my father losing his job after working for that company for 17 years, I said to myself, the moment I start earning, I will take care of myself. And taking care of myself is saving and investing for my future. And that's why I opened, the moment I started earning a substantial amount, I opened the pension fund and the money market fund account with Zimele. I am a YouTuber and I create personal finance content, and in the midst of doing my research, I was working on a video about money market funds in Kenya, and I came across Zimele. What stood out for me was the fact that I can start investing with as low as 100 bob. And in my mind, I thought siwezi kosa 100 bob. So yeah, that's why I chose Zimele. Right now, I am yet to reach where I want. Therefore, yes, the interest is good, but it could be better. The main hindrance for my peers is that they are living hand to mouth, meaning the little that they are getting, they are using it on living expenses. And another thing is they don't have the knowledge. Most people, whenever I create content, most people come into my inbox and say, what, you mean I can start with 100 bob? Why wasn't I taught this in school?
Through the years, Zimele has been guided by the principles and values laid out by its founders. Integrity, always placing the customer at the core of all its activities and making things easier by delivering products and services in a simple, fast, reliable and cost-efficient manner.
As the board and as the chair of the board, the other important thing for us is empowering your management. We have a very, very low turnover of staff. People who join Zimele leave because they need to leave for other reasons, not because they're looking for another job somewhere. They get married, therefore they need to move and various things like that. But by and large, most of our staff stay. If they have no reason, to leave. And that's important for a business because they then feel part of it, and it's, like I said, how you treat them. So one of the things we never did from the outset, even when we were struggling, was to compromise on standards. Yeah, if it's compliance, we were struggling, but we did everything we could to make sure that we are compliant. Best practice, if it's best practice corporate governance, even if we are struggling, you don't succumb to the temptation to cut a corner. You stick it out.
The foundation is always very, very important. And for us, the foundation that was set up by the founder has echoed through time, in addition to making those necessary variations over time. But that foundation has been very, very instrumental in bringing us to where we are today. So whenever our people join in at the point where they're coming in, they find an existing culture. And that culture is geared towards serving the customer.
Going forward, the company promises to continue providing practical and innovative investment solutions that will enable its clients to actualize their goals in life.
My message to Zimele is to continue doing what you're doing because we need the platform as young people. Without Zimele, I would not have started. So keep doing what you're doing and we need you. So, and reach out to us. Yes, young people. Hata kama hatuna pesa mingi, reach out to us and keep doing what you're doing.
So I want to congratulate Zimele management for their steadfastness, even in the very difficult situations we have had, and we have had many. They have remained steadfast. So I want to congratulate them. I want to celebrate the 25 years with them and look forward for the next 25, where they will grow bigger and bigger and probably have different products.
Our message to our customers is that Zimele is, and I believe will always be there for the ordinary person, breaking down these complex products and breaking the ceiling for ordinary people to areas of investments which have either been the preserve of high net worth individuals. The digital platform now enables us to scale very, very dramatically without additional cost and to reach customers. And that's already happening. When we look at the composition of our customers now, we see customers in Kwale, we see customers in Mandera, we see them everywhere. We will never get to see them physically probably. But our message is, just the way to really know about Zimele and what sort of value proposition it has is to talk to a Zimele customer.
And even as it marks its Silver Jubilee anniversary, 25 years of actively playing a key role in actualizing the dreams of its customers, Zimele family believes the best days lie ahead.